Hey there, beautiful Earth Angels, and welcome to 2022. I am delighted to be back with another Wheel of the Year spread. Always fun to look ahead and see what's coming up in the months that we are going to be enjoying together here for 2022. So I'm going to be sharing some photos. I was very heavily guided to use photos from my phone from 2021 to see, what it is about the past that is important to be bringing forward and what is also perhaps important to be letting go. As I was getting ready to record this, there's doing construction across the street. They've been doing it since, 8 years or whatever. And they started with the backhoe and it was beep, beep, beep. And I kept hearing, don't go back, don't go back. And I asked them, so should I do this in another day? Should I, just try to work around it? And they kept saying it's part of the message. And I think that's ties in with why what you're going to be seeing here are photos that I took last year. Because, there's things from the past that we do want to be bringing forward. They're gifts, they're lessons learned, their knowledge, their wisdom. But there are also things that we want to let go and not look back. So I love using photos because, we don't always have our phones with us. And it also emphasizes the really important point that the angels are always, always, always with us. So you're getting messages right now before we even begin here. It's just wired into who you are. It's really about communicating and being well connected to the higher self and using that as your authority. So photographs, I find, are a good reminder that, oh yes, the angels are here now with everything as I look out the window, as I look around the room, all those things. So purpose of this reading is to give you some insight on the year to come, on the whole, but also really as a month-to-month thing. So this is a great reading to use either start to finish or ask your angels to give you a specific month or a specific number, for example, 3 being March, to get a message that you need in the moment. So you can come back to this throughout the year to get whatever you might need in the moment. So last thing I just want to mention before we begin is that, I'm always a teacher. It's just, hardwired into who I am. And as I was getting ready for this, I was like, we need to have fun with this. I want to show you guys some ways that, some techniques really, that we can use to, when the messages aren't clear, because sometimes they're not at the outset. You pick a card, you look at a photo in this case, and it's like, I'm not quite sure what that is. So what do you do in those instances? How can you get that clarity and that sense of completion that you're really looking for? So I'm going to be showing you some techniques on how to do that. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we are at the month of January, and this is the photo that came forward. These are woods that we didn't even know were here when we bought this house 30 years ago. And it's just one of our favorite places to walk. And this is actually an old rail trail. And you'll see just it's this long pathway down to what I call my grandma tree, my mama tree, and Peter has his tree that he loves to hug as well. And really the message here is about being clear with your path, being clear with your intentions, being clear with your vision. And of course, this is something that we talk about a lot in the month of January as we're kicking off a new year. But it feels like there's extra emphasis on that this year, more so than in the past. We are in the midst, as I'm sure you are very well aware, of a major transition here with humanity. And the more that we are distracted and feeling chaotic and sort of not prioritizing clarity, the more that chaos disrupts us and takes us off of our path. So we're really being encouraged this year in particular to get clear with what it is that's a priority for you for this coming 12 months. You know, what is it about yourself that you want to really nurture? What are new habits that you want to encourage and maybe even enforce is a word that I'm hearing a little bit strong, but that's what I'm hearing. You know, and remember that habits, we were just talking about this in a coaching circle last night. Habits need time and structure to really become habits. So if you're wanting to build a new meditation practice or exercise or food or whatever, you have to be regimented about it for a good period of time before it becomes hardwired into who you are. And I think that's why vision is so important right now, because we're looking to transform humanity, and we can't do that until we are changing how we show up in the world. So one of the things that I wanted to share, because I promised that I'd be sharing some little extra tips with you guys, and what I'm going to do for just a little extra emphasis on this is I'm going to pick a card. So sometimes, you know, you pick a card, it's not clear, you pick another card. And I feel pretty clear about this message, but I'm also being guided to pick a card, and I'm using the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Jody Bergsma. And so let's see what animal comes forward for the month of January, which sets the tone for 2022 as well. So, yes. The Loon, intuitive. Oh, this is beautiful. Have a look. So how this plays into the message of staying on your path, use your intuition. Don't stay in your head. Yesterday, I really wanted to go for a walk, but my guidance was a very clear no, just because I hadn't slept well, doesn't matter. But my intuition, my angels were very clear, not today, you need to rest. But there was a part of me in my head that was like, but I need the exercise. When you're setting your goals for 2022, allow your angels to be your partners in that process, to really guide it and make sure that whatever vision that you are creating for this year is truly coming from your higher self. So important. So thank you, Loon Energy and angels, for emphasizing that for us. Okay, so for the month of February, this is the photo that has come forward. This is one of our white pines on the edge of our property that just snapped and fell last year. There's a row of white pines, and this one just decided that it was done. And, you know, I think that's part of the message. To be honest, when this photo came forward, I was like, I'm not totally clear what this is about. But trusting, of course, that it would become clear as I did the reading. And part of it does feel like there's something in your life that has been part of your boundaries, is what I'm hearing, because these trees are on the edge of our property. Something that's been part of your boundaries that you need to let go. And a lot of times boundaries are put up in that space of fear. You know, I think frankly, some of the metaphysical practices around protection are very fear-based. And whenever we fall into that space of fear, we're falling away from love, because you can't have fear and love at the same time. They're mutually exclusive. It just can't be. So there's something within your boundary setting process that needs to be let go. And I'm also hearing to be opened up. You know, closing down the heart with the intention of protecting ourselves usually doesn't serve yourself or the higher good. It's really healthy boundaries are a lot about opening the heart and harnessing that strength, that power to not attract shit into your life. It's kind of the bottom line there. So clearing the space to open up your heart to let in that which will serve you better, frankly. So one tip that I wanted to give you, one of my favorite things, is to just look around the space. So I'm going to just take a quick glance around my space, and I'm seeing a candle on the other side. that is drawing my energy. So I'm going to be right back with that candle. Hold tight, please. Okay. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. So this is a beautiful candle that I purchased at a show this past fall. Hedge and Heather is a lovely woman who owns this company and makes the candles all by herself. And this has amethyst in it, these beautiful crystals. I don't know if you can see it very well, but the name of this particular candle is Serenity. And I think how this underscores what I was saying a minute ago in terms of boundaries is that the ultimate goal in life is to be at peace with who you are and who you are showing up in the world. And serenity is such a big part of that. And whenever we get into that space of, oh my God, am I safe? Oh my God, am I doing the right things? Oh my God, did I smudge enough? Did I whatever enough? We're not allowing that serenity. And so, and I look at peace and serenity as very related, almost interchangeable. And it's really about being in that space of peace and serenity no matter what is going on, which obviously is a big task. But it's what we're being called to do. Open the heart and allow that peace, allow that serenity. So before we get to March, I did want to just mention quickly that these bits of wisdom that are coming through, of course, stand on their own at any time in the year. But there are also themes for the specific month that I'm talking about for you personally as well as for humanity. So, just bear in mind that while these may feel like, well, how does that apply to February? It's really about what we're all dealing with collectively. And what I'm hearing is really the opportunities that we have to work on these things as human beings that we are. So for March, these beautiful bluebirds have come forward. This is a pair that was hanging out in our yard last year, and I hope they come back again this year. They're so gorgeous. You'll see a male. The bright blue is the male, and the paler blue is the female. And they are hanging out in our holly bushes, and the message immediately came forward about just being yourself. Look at that male. He's just spreading his wings and he is not shy. He's just like, hey, baby, look at me. And it's about celebrating the gift of who you are, whatever that is, without, I'm hearing attachment, without fear, just being who you are and trusting that you will attract the people into your life that are meant to be part of your life. I think there's so much that people feel lacking with respect to, who they are, who's in their lives, who's not in their lives. There's the, why don't I have a partner? Why don't I have closer friends? Why don't I get along with people at work? All of that. And this feels like a really strong reminder to just understand that whoever is in your life for a reason, number one. And number two, that as you show your true self, like your true self, what's really inside of you, you're going to attract everybody who is meant to be part of your world. And it's going to feel complete. There's not going to be any wondering of, I wonder who else should be in my life, or I wonder who should let go. When you're just you, everybody who's meant to be part of your world automatically is part of your world. There is no lack, there is no wanting. The key is to not be shy about spreading your wings and being bold and just this glorious, glorious creature that you are. April. This is our little Gigi kitty cat, and you'll see I'm also holding this beautiful heart-shaped stone. I think it's selenite, but I'm not 100%. I didn't think selenite had that modeling in there. But anyway, if you know, feel free to drop it in the comments. Crystals are not my area of expertise, although I do love them. So the message for the month of April, I have to admit, is a little bit elusive, and I'm going to be drawing out my pendulum to help to get clarity. One thing I am noticing immediately as I'm starting to do this reading is the yoga mat that you'll see in the upper right-hand corner. And the yoga mat represents here flexibility, movement. Um, Yoga itself, my understanding, is about harnessing the energy of the universe. And that's really what it is to have your heart in your hand, wear your heart in your sleeve. So I think, okay, so this is starting to unravel as a message about unconditional love and really harnessing that from the universe. You will see that Gigi is looking at me with a lot of love in her eyes, and because I'm holding that heart stone, it feels like a message about holding your heart in your hand and offering it to the world. The yoga mat being about being good to your body, good to yourself, harnessing that universal energy and bringing that into an offering, really, that you're handing to all those that you touch in this world. So again, I'm going to just see, one of the ways that I love to use the pendulum is just to ask, okay, is this message complete? They're actually saying it is complete. I'm kind of surprised in a good way. So I think I'll be bringing out the pendulum again to show you a couple of other tips that I like to use if the message is not feeling complete. So for the month of May, we have this beautiful sunrise that's happening over the edge of our property. I took the picture from our third floor balcony, and everything is just so lush and green, and the sun is rising, and the sky is all these beautiful different colors. And what I'm noticing most prominently is that second orb that is a reflection beneath the sun, and there's a little green dot in the middle of it. And it's really a reminder that you are a reflection of the sun, that you are this beautiful light being. And this feels so related to the message from March. There's a part of me that's like, come on, angels, don't we want something a little bit different here? And I hear, that's coming. So there is more to this. But it's beginning with a reminder that you are a spark of God. You are a spark of the divine, that you are this glorious being. And if this particular month is resonating for you more deeply, perhaps you chose the month of May or the number 5, then this is a reminder that things are just starting for you, that they are just beginning. The sun is rising, and a new day, it sounds corny, but a new day is being born, a new era is being born. We are together birthing a new humanity. And in order to do that in alignment with love, the invitation is again to see yourself as a spark of God, to see yourself as that divine being, because as you see that, you birth that. So one trick that I wanted to share with you to get the deeper message is to really tune into your body. And this is a pretty simple, straightforward thing to do, but most of us go through life just kind of ignoring those little signals and signs that we're getting from our physical beings. So just take a moment and close your eyes and breathe. You don't have to actually close your eyes. If you want to look at the image and do this, that's totally fine too. But as you consider the message that has come forward thus far, what is it that you're feeling in your body? What is it that's coming forward? What are you noticing? And for me personally, what I'm feeling actually is a sensation in my left glute, and which is probably a little TMI, but the message about that is what I'm hearing: knowing where you're sitting, knowing where you're seated, knowing how you are grounded in life. What is your foundation? And if you've been doing this exercise along with me, make sure that you're paying attention to whatever it is that comes forward for you. I'm just sharing how my left glute helped to enrich this particular message, but always, always, always pay attention to what comes through for you. For the month of June, the message right off the bat is about community. These beautiful, beautiful roses, which the colors just are so breathtaking. And there's this beautiful arrangement of roses that are they're living together. They're hanging out together. They're just together bringing this real pop of joy, of grace, of loveliness. And so the core message for June is about knowing your community. Community is really important this month. And part of knowing your community is also knowing and recognizing what is not part of your community. In the background, it's blurry, but it's in front of the window at the back, is a cactus that we have had forever. We moved it here, so it's been with us for probably close to 35 years. But it's not part of this arrangement of flowers. It's not part of the community, if you will. It's part of the larger community of the room, of the house, but it's not a part of the immediate community. So the invitation here is to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who, whoopsies, bring out the beauty and the grace in your world. And I am about to pick a card, but I've got to see the one that just fell, because cards that fall are always really important. I think it may be the loon, but hang on. It is the loon. Trust your intuition. You know inside your heart, you know who it's important for you to be hanging out with, and who it may be time to kind of just take a break or step away. And this is your call to do that. In courage and trusting and faith that whoever that is part of the bigger community of your life, your world, but they're not meant to be kind of front and center part, hanging out in the same vase. So that card fell when I was reaching for actually another card. I'm just gonna, I feel like there's another thread that needs to come through, and this is The Language of Flowers by Sherilyn Darcy. I use this deck a lot. I actually love to give these cards away when I'm doing readings in person. All right, so the add-on to this message for June is the crocus. Breathe, calm, rest, stop, and just be. So let's just pause and take a minute together. Given what's come through, just feel into your body, feel into your heart, take a nice breath. And who is it that you need more of in your life? Who do you need to be surrounding yourself with? And who do you perhaps need to take a break, a little space from at this time? And just trusting that whatever comes through is right for you. You can choose to take action or not. That's between you and your angels. But just trust that whatever's come through has come through for a reason. And crocuses are also so much about new beginnings. They were one of the first flowers in the spring. So this is a new beginning. And these beautiful roses are blessing you as you start anew. For the month of July, this photo taken in Provincetown last summer with me wearing my new favorite hat is what has come forward for us. And, I got this hat because it reminded me so much of my grandmother, and I love hats. She loved hats, and it's like a Parsons woman thing. She was, her last name was Parsons, and it's just something that just brings back so much grace, so much elegance, so much, just joy of being a woman, I think. So the message is about making sure that you're nurturing that spiritual essence that makes you feel this connection to your past, connection to your ancestors, and really allowing that to carry you when you need it to carry you, because I think sometimes we can forget where we came from, and as we've talked in this video earlier, that there are times that things that we need to let go and leave in the past, but there's a lot of good that we have that makes us who we are, that is important to be carrying forward. And that grace, that grandmother maternal love is very much what this hat brings forward for me. So the message for you is to make sure that you're nurturing those things, that you're really remembering those ancestors and those traits that are important to you and make you who you are, because this has come forward for July. I'm hearing quite prominently because we're moving into this new era, as we've talked about, and we have to be very intentional with what it is that we want to bring forward. And I think some of that grace, that elegance that comes from my grandmother, and whatever it is that feels important to you to be carrying forward, is how we seed and create the foundation for what's next. Ooh, look at that little breeze saying yes, yes. And that's another thing to be paying attention to. Our heat just came on, and it just was like this breath of fresh air. And I think that's part of the message that's emphasizing. So, another little technique right there. Pay attention to what's happening in your surrounding. We got the backhoe saying don't go backwards, and the fresh air saying bring forward what is important to carry forward from your ancestors, from your past. For August, we have this photo of our pasture that we used to have sheep a long time ago, and chickens and geese. Not anymore, but we still have a pasture that Peter likes to mow, and he likes to have fun mowing this maze that is just such a joy to walk. But here is part of it, and you'll see these parallel paths, and they are turning over towards the right. But it's really a reminder that our angels are walking with us. I'm noticing those white clouds, those fluffy clouds at the top, which feel so much like little angel wisps. And what I'm hearing clairaudiently is that August is a month, or if you just chose, the number 8 or August to do a one-off reading, is that it's a month where we really need to remember that our angels are walking with us, that we are very guided, that we are one with their essence. And I feel like there's another word that I'm not quite grasping. So I'm actually going to show you another technique and use this book just to... I don't think it matters what book it is. I mean, it's The Master Keys of Healing by Alan Cohen, but it's really more... You can do this with any book, a magazine, a catalog. I love doing readings this way. It's taking a long time, so there's patience that's part of the message. Okay. So, what we carry forward with the angels. Okay. So, what I'm looking at is this list, what I do that increases my life force and what I do that diminishes my life force. So, remembering, that's it. Remembering that as we are consciously, intentionally walking with our angels, connecting with our guidance, it strengthens our life force. And as we strengthen our own life force, we are bringing that out to the world, to everyone we touch. And we, I think sometimes the human ego can go into this space of, well, I can't make a difference in the world. So not true. When you walk tall and strong and bring your smile and your life essence and your joy and your love to the grocery clerk, to the gas station attendant, to your accountant, to whomever, you touch them. You change them. And so it's really a responsibility, at least the way I look at it, it's a responsibility to walk with the angels, to remember that connection, and that you're never alone, and that as you fill your heart with their purpose and their guidance, you change the world as well as yourself. For September, we have this incredible hawk that is hanging out in a maple tree in our yard, and I actually hadn't noticed this before just now, is that all the branches are going in one direction and really indicating a message about staying aligned, staying on the path, focusing on the higher vision. Hawks are so much a message about focusing and keeping the vision on the higher path. They soar around, and they're just have these very accomplished, very precise vision for seeing what it is that they want to see, like a little mole or a little mouse or a little critter that they want to have for dinner. And they have this incredible vision. So there's so much about vision, and there's so much about alignment here with these branches all going from left to right, bottom to top, which is also part of the message. So in case I haven't said this before, I don't think I have, I really didn't study these images before, so the messages are coming through fresh now with all of you, so you can kind of witness the process of how it unfolds. So I'm drawn now to the fact that these branches are going from the bottom to the top. It's staying on the higher path. It's keeping your vision focused. And I'm getting out my pendulum because I think my pendulum wants to help. Is there more to this message? Is it complete? No, it's not complete. So is there more? How many more bits? So this is my little technique that I wanted to share. How many more bits are ready to come through for this message for September? Is it 1? Yes. Is it 2? Yes. Is it 3? No. And I feel the pendulum and the energy coming through it, changing direction. So there's 2 more little pieces here that want to come through. So one of them, and I'm hearing and I'm confirming with the pendulum, is don't get distracted. I see these little branches. What I'm drawn to are the little branches that are in the background, and they're kind of going all different directions as they naturally do. This is about not letting the distractions take you away from focusing on the higher path. You know, as I mentioned at the outset, I asked the angels if I needed to do this in a different day, even though I was all dressed and ready to go when the backhoe started. I asked them, and they were like, no, life is full of distractions, and our job is to not let them take us off our path. So that feels like, and the pendulum is validating that, the first of the 2 messages. So the second one, I'm very drawn to the fact that the hawk is looking right at the camera, right at me and my phone. And that feels like part of it. So, okay, angels, please be clear with what this is about. This is a good example. Sometimes messages really do have a process and take a little bit of time. I'm hearing look in the mirror and like what you see. That's what it is. Pendulum's agreeing with that. So this is an invitation. Part of that alignment is being able to look in the mirror and love what you see. And you may not be at that point to be able to look in the mirror and love what you see, but taking steps in that direction by looking in the mirror and not looking away, even if it's just for a second. Or maybe you're able to look in the mirror and say, I really like you, or I really like your eyes, I really like your ears, or whatever it is that you like about yourself. Just taking baby steps. And if you can, just full on, just look in the mirror and say, I love you. That's part of the alignment process, because ultimately it's about loving ourselves again, so we can bring that to the world, not just for ourselves, but to bring it to the world. So I just wanted to confirm with the angels, is the reading for September complete? And they are saying yes. For the month of October, we have our Charlie and our Gigi having a little spat. And I have to say, again, I wasn't 100% clear on what the message is, other than the fact that October feels like there's going to be a little bit of thorny, contentious energy. And the invitation, I think, is how we respond to that is really key. One of my favorite things to do when I need clarity is to phone a friend. So I've invited my beloved Peter to give interpretation of what he sees in this image for the month of October. So what do you see, Peter?
Well, one of the things that stands out is the fact that Charlie, the white cat, is actually looking at the camera and not looking at Gigi. And so this to me is suggesting that while there may be conflict or an issue that you're facing, your focus may need to be not on the issue, but on something greater. Maybe the issue is presenting itself to help move you in a direction, but it's a symptom. It's not the core of the problem.
I love that. I love that. And see, I think sometimes we feel like the answers are all supposed to come through ourselves, and a lot of times a lot of the messages do. But sometimes it's really an honor to experience a message coming through somebody else. And so, there's no reason why when you're feeling like you need some support, you can't reach out to somebody that you love and you trust to help you get further clarity. So is there anything else you feel is popping for you, Peter? I'm noticing that Gigi, as we're recording, and I caught Peter off guard, so that's why he's not on camera, but while we're talking, Gigi was walking across my desk. She's the little gray one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of reinforces it that she's in a bit of a mood right now. She's an instigator. Yeah. And this conflict or issue or whatever that may appear is more of an instigation for action as opposed to I've got to solve this.
I love that. And you know what? Neither of us really gave her any attention and she left.
Yeah, true. And that's very representative if you have cats or you're a cat person. When cats get into this kind of mood, when they engage each other, it intensifies and gets worse. Whereas if they kind of just ignore each other, it often will sort of dissolve and fade away. Yeah.
And so I think this has come through for October because I think the energy is going to be a little spicy. And, we don't have to engage in it. With it.
Yep, exactly. You don't have to confront it. You just have to focus on what's the higher path.
Perfect. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
It's always fun bringing in somebody to add to a reading to enhance it. And I think sometimes we feel like we're burdening another person and we're interrupting them. And, Peter was in the middle of his day job. But it's an honor. You're giving them a gift by inviting them. They can say no if they don't want to do it. But most of the time, and Peter was really excited to be part of that. So it's a gift. Remember when you ask somebody to help you with something. So for the month of November, the photo that's come forward is of this athame, which is a spiritual knife or ceremonial tool to represent the cutting away of what no longer serves. And it's this beautiful piece of quartz crystal and amethyst. And it's just so I find to be breathtakingly lovely. And I know it's, I have that resonance with it. I know it's meant to be with me, at least right now. I think this has come forward for a couple of different reasons. One is that this beautiful piece actually broke several years ago. It broke in a couple of different places because it was on a shelf and a friend's dog came in and spooked the cats, and the cats jumped, and cats seem to be a theme this year, don't they? Anyway, they knocked the athame and it broke. And so for a couple of years, I had it kind of tucked away in a safe space so that it wouldn't get broken further, not totally sure of what I was going to do with it. And then last year, it came clear that I wanted to repair it. I actually had posted in this local spiritual group about who I could get to repair it. And it turned out somebody recommended this guy I hadn't even thought of, who is a good friend of our daughter's from high school. And so it was this beautiful full circle working with this guy who's so talented. He's a jewelry maker. I don't know if that's the right term, but he works with, he's a craftsman for sure. So he repaired the athame and sent it back to me, and then I stored it in a way that it didn't quite like it was on a plate and there was too much weight. And long story short, it broke again, and it's now back with him being repaired as I record this. So I feel like it's a message in perseverance, in the cutting away of what no longer serves. Isn't like a you're done with it and you're done with it. A lot of times things that we're working to clear come up again and again, and we need to address them anew and repair them anew and have the right people involved with that healing. This is such a message about healing for November, for anybody who chose number 11. And this time in our humanity, it's such a big lesson on healing and what it takes, and having the right people involved to help with that healing. The right people in the right places. I've certainly benefited from therapists in the past, and I have friends who have, and you can have a therapist who doesn't really help so much, and some I've heard stories of that really actually can cause harm, and I'm sure they're probably well intended, but it's not the right fit. You have to have the right person in the right job in order to really create that opportunity for healing. And I say opportunity because the healing always comes from within. You can go to the right person, and if you don't show up and do the work, it's not going to work. You're not going to benefit. But this is about having the right people in the right time, and just being perseverant on what it takes to move forward. And again, this is a personal message as well as one for humanity. So we just have to keep persevering, and one foot in front of the other in faith that the healing is happening, bringing in the right people in the right places to do that with us. So I'm just feeling into my body to see if it's complete. And I just learned last week that in Japanese, complete is the same thing as perfection. So I really love that idea of, is this reading feeling perfect? Is it feeling complete? And I'm feeling very clear, yes. Closing out the year is this picture of our garage door with a wreath on it. And, wreaths are such a symbol of wholeness, of oneness, of completion, of coming full circle and unity, and all these things that are about bringing us together, about, there's that completion, perfection thing again. So this wreath is actually one that my brother gave me, and I took this picture because I wanted to send him a picture of how lovely it looks on the garage door. This feels like it is about family. And family, I'm hearing in the bigger sense of the word. So, of course, our blood relatives are inclusive in this, but also really, I think the invitation as we're closing out 2022 is to look at family in a broader sense of, people that we feel such a strong connection with. I look at the Living with the Angels, people within Living with the Angels. I didn't start this because I wouldn't put that on people. But our members really look at Living with the Angels as their angel family. We are like-minded. We are, people feel safe with one another. So what is that for you? Whatever that is. I'm not pushing Living with the Angels. If you want to join us, we'd love to welcome you, but that's not what I'm getting at here. Who is your family? Your close friends, those people that really bring out the best in you. We're kind of going back and touching a little bit on that message from June on who is it that brings out the best in you, that you want to really enfold in your heart. I keep getting this sort of body sensation of bringing it into your heart as that feeling of oneness. Ultimately, we want to be bringing this out to the world, but it all starts with those who are more on the immediate front. So I did hear, before I started looking at this particular image, that a card was going to come forward. And this is, again, the Spirit of the Animals Oracle. So let's see what animal we started the year with the loon. Let's see what's coming forward for December. And, ooh, the snow leopard, self-reliance. Oh, yes. You know, this has so much meaning in particular because I just listened to Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson just last week. So this is a personal message, but one that I offer for all of you as enhancement to the message for December, because the essence of self-reliance is just knowing that you have it all within you. You know, you're complete, you're whole, you have everything you need. You have such incredible gifts to offer the world. And as you begin to really, really see that for yourself, and the bluebird flashes in mind, like really just courageously be yourself. And the snow leopard, you know, cats. Am I right? Like cats for this year seem to be a theme. But just fiercely you. So beautiful. Even if you're not a cat lover, I gotta believe you guys, it's just breathtaking. So I am being guided to, there are 5 different messages written on the card, and I'm hearing the third. Cloak yourself with invisibility and walk with the shamans. Use your intuition and let your life unfold in silent perfection. That's perfect. I'm still pondering the cloak yourself with invisibility and walk with the shamans. I know what that means. So I that feels like releasing the influence of the ego. You know, cloak yourself with invisibility. To me, at least what I'm taking from that is to let go of the ego being the one that's seen, and let your higher self be the one that is seen and visible and your gift to the world. That is a wrap for our 2022 Wheel of the Year card spread. Thank you so much for joining me here. And remember, always, always, always trust your intuition. The loon came forward to remind us of that. The snow leopard came forward to remind us of that, because self-reliance is all about trusting your own inner authority, your own intuition. So regardless of what anyone says, always trust your own self. With that, come on over to angelsteach.com and see what we've got going on over there. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. And wishing you so much love, angel blessings, lots of goodness, and may 2022 be a perfect year for you. Be well.